All right, Facebook world, what is up? This is your host Rahul here over at Custom Creatives, and we got a special guest. Hopefully, you can see him. We're figuring out what is up with Be Live right now, but as you saw in the title, your eyes may have popped. You may have thought it was a typo. It's not. That's a B with a Billy's. This man, Chris Patterson, he's generated over 1.4 billion in revenue for his clients, and we are going to sit down, pick his brain, extract as much information while we have this time. So, with that being said, Chris, thank you for spending some time here and also going through the tech challenges that I've had on my end.
And hey, no problem. It looks like everything is the only thing you're going to see here is audio. It says audio only on my end.
Okay, you know what? Let's click a button and see if that does it. The fuck is going on? Let me turn mine off and see if that turns yours on.
Back to blue. And now I can see me. What's up, everybody?
All right. Well, we got the man of the hour. While we're doing this, I'll figure out how I can be side by side, but this is the most important person you need to see. So I'll ask a couple questions and kind of let you take over from here. So tell us a little bit about your background, your journey, where you started and how you got to where you are.
Oh gosh, it was definitely not glamorous where I started. I grew up in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and kind of a motor city, really not a lot of opportunity there. And, you know, all my friends, they basically just drank and watched hockey. So I fell into that group and I became a bona fide loser. I had lost like 3-4 jobs in a row. I lost my friends. A girlfriend left me because I was a big jerk. And, you know, so I really didn't have anything glamorous to start off with. Came from a pretty low income family. Parents went through divorce. Mom was on welfare. So really just started from ground zero, less than zero.
Yeah, no, thanks for that background. I mean, that's inspiring to know that, like, about what we're about to embark on here in this interview is the fact that you were from nothing and negative. You were below the line. So that's going to be even more motivating for a lot of people that are going to be listening to this. So I didn't know you were a Canadian. Well, that's always nice to know. So congratulations on the championship there in your country.
Thanks, eh?
Strange Brew is the only thing I know.
That's right. Poser.
Yeah, right. So tell me, like, when you're an entrepreneur, it takes you a long time to get to that breakthrough, or some people get there faster. What was that breakthrough moment where you're like, aha, I fucking got this? Why the hell didn't I know this before?
You know, there's been a couple defining moments that really helped our business. I started my marketing agency 19 years ago. To explain how long ago that was, my biggest objection that I had to overcome was people saying, oh, no, I don't need a website. I got the yellow pages. So I was fighting against yellow pages and fax machines to get people to buy websites way back in the day. But I'm sorry, I missed your question. What would you ask again, Rahul? I apologize.
That breakthrough moment.
Yeah. So, you know, starting that long ago, you know, I had to go through a lot of trials and different dips and turns and all kinds of things. I was barely making it for 3-4 years. And then I invested in several different mentors. And one of the mentors that helped me, he showed me how to get value-based fees from the services that we were doing. So usually everybody goes in and they're like, hey, you know, my service is $1,000 a month, and they charge that same service to everybody for the same price, no matter who you are. But one of the things that we decided, because we were getting in with bigger and bigger companies, we've worked with Lamborghini, we've worked with Palace Resorts, the Hard Rock Hotels, CSX is a Fortune 500 railroad company. So that we got into these bigger companies, and I started scratching my head going, why am I only charging these people $1,000? You know, these people are literally, some of them making billions. And then I learned how to do value-based fees, which is really just, hey, what is the end value for you once I've completed my services? What do you get out of it? What's in it for you? And once you kind of get that sequence in order, you can literally 10x, 20x your fees. So we went from selling $1,000 a month accounts to $15,000, $20,000 a month accounts, and adding them just as quickly as we were before. The only difference is we scaled it very, very rapidly. So that was a huge shift for us, was learning how to do what I call value-based fees. And it's also something I teach in my coaching. I just had another young guy. He's got a marketing company, just doubled his revenue in 1 year working with me, doubled. and mostly because I taught them this sequence of events on how to do OMV, or objectives, measure, and value, to get the value-based fees.
Yeah, and really quickly, speaking of which, whoever's here live, do a hashtag live, and if you're gonna catch this on the replay, hashtag replay. And what one thing I convinced Chris to do, I pulled his leg while we were having a little tech trouble to give away a free video training. And anybody who participates, comments, says something, we're going to reach out to you and we'll send you a link. So it's only for the people who participate. So you got to engage on this video, whether you're live or on the replay.
Yeah, just to give you some specificity on that, Rahul, it's the 5 most important shifts that I've learned for success. I'd done everything wrong. So the reason they're shifts is because I had to change and do something right. But yeah, I share the 5 most important success strategies in this training. So if you guys are interested, comment and we'll get it to you.
Yeah, perfect. Comment Rhino, hashtag Rhino.
Yeah, there you go.
Rhino right on that shirt right there. And I like rhinos. Okay, cool. So value-based sales, was that the breakthrough moment when you learned from going from like just picking an arbitrary fee, what you thought the market could bear, to just saying, all right, what's in it for you?
That was one of them. So, value-based fees, learning how to extract the money you deserve from the services that you're doing. Again, just to go back, put it this way, if you're charging $1,000 a month, but your services are generating $100 million a year, then you're being ripped off and you deserve more. So there's a way that you can get more and make it perfect sense to the person on the other end, so they say yes every time.
Beautiful. Is there anything you can do to share some of those tips of like maybe some questions, or how do you transition the dialogue from, hey, I'll charge you $1,000? Is there some kind of sequence where it's just like, hey, you know what? Well, tell me about a lifetime value of a customer. How many customers are you boarding? Like, so you kind of go through that kind of series.
There's an approach that I follow. The 3 most important ones is, what are the objectives? What are the measures? And what's the value to the client? So the first thing is, okay, what are we trying to accomplish? What are the objectives? Once we list those out, we get a nice, 6, 7, 8, 10 bullet points of here's what we're trying to accomplish. The next thing is, well, how would we know we're successful if we tripped over it? Well, we have to measure it. So the next thing I come back to them and say, hey, here's the metrics that you need to understand whether you're getting a return on investment from me. So I teach them how to measure our success. And then last is, what's this going to be worth to you? Is it worth your peace of mind? Are you going to be able to focus on more important things? Why are you hiring us? And it's not just financial as the value. It's also the personal value. What are you hoping to get out of this personally is something I might ask. Oh, I just need less stress. And man, if I could just grow the business by 10, 15%, it's going to put me in a completely different place in my life. That's value. So we want to document, what are the objectives? What are the measures? And what's the value? We want to document all that and then share it back to them in a draft agreement. And the draft is just, hey, we're just going through this to see if it works. And if it makes sense to you, we can make adjustments. And usually I go on the fly with them while I'm on a Zoom call like this. And I go through each and every step, make changes, edits. But again, it's giving them a proposal that's exactly what they want.
Yeah, and like, what's the importance of using Zoom? Does that give you more value to the customer so they can build that relationship with you?
Yeah, one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make, most of my students, by the way, are marketing agencies. But some when I'm in my coaching, the biggest thing is, I'm like, well, what'd you do with the contract? They're like, well, I emailed it to them. There's one more step you have to do before that. If you can just call them and say this, you say, hey, I've documented our conversations. I'd like to go through a draft proposal. There's nothing etched in stone at all. I just want to go through it and make sure that I haven't missed anything. Can we meet this week or next? Then we just jump on the call and we go through line by line. Now at the top of it, I put draft in like 48 font, and I put a yellow bar through it, like a highlighted bar, so they can see this is a draft. Well, what's the purpose of that? It lowers their resistance. They realize they're just working on an active document. They're not making a decision today. But once we do that and I get yes, 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 all the way through the document, then I can email it to them.
Beautiful. And then as you're going through your drafts, are you disclosing line items saying, all right, for running Facebook ads or SEO or live chat? Do you have like a price associated to each line item in the draft mode?
No, because we're not trying to sell services. We're trying to sell the outcome.
Right.
For instance, I've got a software company too. In my software agency, if I can put my live chat service onto somebody's website, they've got a tremendous amount of traffic, I guarantee I'm going to double their leads. So let's say they're doing $200,000 a month in lead generation right now. Well, once I put some of these services on there, it goes to $400,000 a month. Well, I want to be equitably compensated for the value that I'm providing to them. And sometimes I even tell them, like, people say, well, why don't you just charge hourly like everybody else? And my comment back is because hourly is unethical. I say, well, how in the world can you say it's unethical? I say, well, think about it. You'll have a set fee with my value-based fees, and I'll work as much as I need to do to get everything accomplished. With hourly fees, you don't know how much work I'm doing, how much I'm not, how long things take. And I believe it's unethical. I'd rather just give you a flat fee so you know exactly what to expect and you can base your ROI from there.
I like that a lot. I'm going to use that one right there. I've never used hourly as unethical. That's a great way to change the narrative, and it's true. I love that, because like when you're paying somebody hourly, from my perspective, like a lawyer, let's say, you're like, dude, is this guy fucking me? Is he doing the work? Like, how come this took an hour? Then you're questioning minute by minute versus saying, all right, for X grand a month, just get the shit done. That's what I'm paying you to do. And if you don't get it done, just work longer, work weekends, work Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If the upside for people is so much higher than what they're going to pay me for my value-based fees anyways, like literally people say, well, how'd you generate 1.4 billion? And I've been called out on that like it's a lie. Think about this. Like one of my clients, a company called VACCON. They make sewage trucks. I call them the Rolls Royce of sewage trucks.
It's awesome.
They really suck at number 1 and number 2, by the way. But sorry, couldn't resist. I got bad dad jokes for days, Rahul. Sorry.
I know. Bring them on, man. Bring them on.
But just that one company, we were able to work with them. They're still one of our clients. They've been with us for 14 years. And but when we first started working with them, all they wanted to do was sell 20 more trucks a year, and each one of their trucks is like 300 grand. Well, what is that? $3 million, $6 million worth of trucks right there. Mm-hmm. Well, again, I want to be compensated for selling those trucks. So when I share OMV and I go through everything properly, people turn around and they're like, wow, this just makes perfect sense. This is exactly what I want. Let's get moving.
Dude, I love this value-based sales process. That's something we implement. We have a couple different options on our end, but going into, like, I love the fact that you had that breakthrough where it went from that that flat rate like retainer to just understanding what value you bring to the table, so you can have a true partnership and everybody can win in the long run and short run.
Yeah.
And mentors. That's a fucking key. I'm glad you zoned in on you. You brought in mentors. And now you have taken the reign of being the mentor of everything you've accumulated over your career to other people to pass that knowledge down. So that's super important too. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, one of the things I'm most proud of is I met Zig Ziglar in 1997, and I convinced him to mentor me for 12 months every Sunday. So I spent a year with that man, and it changed everything so radically for me. Talk about another shift. It was getting that one mentor. So he passed away in 2012, and in 2015, I got a phone call from his son, Tom Ziglar, who's a friend of mine. And he said, Chris, we really want to carry on Dad's legacy, Zig's legacy. He said, would you consider being a certified Ziglar coach? So I've been doing this for years now, but I absolutely love that I get to carry on the Ziglar legacy because it is phenomenal information. His philosophies are great, and I'm helping people change their lives one by one.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Now, from sustaining, like you have a couple businesses. You have your agency, you have your software, and then where your time is what you just mentioned in your coaching business. How are you able to transition out of those two organizations so the house doesn't break, you're a business CEO and owner, and you can focus on what your passion is as it is today?
Yeah, so I'd say that that's probably most agency owners' dream, is to have somebody else just handle and work everything for you. And for me, that's exactly what happened. Now, how did I get there? Number one is I had to have a core team of people that I absolutely trust and know that they work their butts off. So that's taken me years to kind of find the right crew. So I've got a full-time team of 8 full-time people, and they oversee 160 virtual workers that we have. So my 160 virtual workers are taking strategy from my team, and they manage all the processes. But it was probably 5, 6 years ago. I was just like, man, I wasn't challenged by running the agency anymore. And I was like, okay, what's my next challenge? And that's when I went into coaching full time. So now I literally only spend 1 hour a week. I go on a Zoom call each Friday at 1:30. My whole team jumps on there, not all 160, just the core team. And we go through our stats, and I spend 1 hour on the agency a week, and that's it. And by the way, we grew by 18% last year. So we're fine. Everything's good, which lets me do what I really love, though. This is the most important thing. I love helping people get to the next level. And I've got so much knowledge, and I'm just like, just listen to me. You know, it's there's an old Western, Rahul, that said, stick with me, kid, and we'll be eating steak and eggs by the morning. And that's kind of how I feel when I get a student. I'm like, come on, man, just stick with me. Just do what I'm asking you to do.
Yeah.
And when they do, it's miraculous. You know, I just had another testimonial sent in where a guy added about 60% to his fees. He's growing his business quickly. And, you know, he's got the same amount of accounts, just with a lot more money.
That's beautiful. That's incredible. Now, since a lot of people are going to be agency owners, one of the challenges they have is that second in command, or how can you kind of get some of that pressure off of you as the owner, the doer, the outsourcer, the project manager, the voice of all. You're the janitor to the CEO. What do you recommend is that either that first hire, or how to alleviate yourself from some of the monkey work?
So one of the biggest problems, or one of the biggest challenges that I see, is people don't train properly. And I've got a very, very simple way to train people. I let them watch me do it 5 times. And then I ask them to kind of ask a few questions. Like, let's say we do 5 meetings. Sorry, let me start over.
Yeah.
I call it 5, 5, and 5. All right. So you're going to watch me do 5 meetings. Let's say I'm teaching them how to sell. All right. And then the next 5 meetings, I'm going to give you a few questions so you can join in and be a part of it. And then the last 5 meetings, I'm going to be the fly on the wall. I'm going to watch you, and I'm going to critique you from there. Very, very simple way to train. 5, 5, and 5. Now, after 15 meetings, that salesperson should be up and running, right? And because I've been there, they know what to expect. They know what to say. They know what they shouldn't do. So that's a really critical key to growing your business, is you just have to make sure that you're training people effectively. And now the good news is there's so many online courses and so many great material out there. You know, you can download these courses and let them watch them. But I really like to be hands-on as much as I can. Now, once you get people, first of all, the people that are running my company right now have been working for me between 6 and 18 years. So some of it's patience.
Yeah.
And nobody likes that word, especially all of us ADD guys.
Yeah, right.
And I'll admit, I got the patience of a fruit fly. However, if you just stick to it a little at a time, a little every day, and you have persistent consistency in your business, day in, day out, don't miss a day in and day out, it's just a matter of time before it's going to grow. Now, that doesn't mean you can only work. You have to be smart too. So that's where you need to reach out to people that are qualified, people who have been there and done that, people that you trust, and have them help you along the way, because that has been a superpower for me, is hiring mentors and coaches and speeding up my success times 5 very quickly.
Yeah, speaking of, I'm just going to touch on the mentorship really quick and then go back to the patience thing. The mentorship is key, because you're buying the shortcut, and then you just, every stage of your life, whether you're starting, you may have a mentor. Once you start getting success, you may have a different mentor, and plus the first one you started with, and keep going and evolving. So it's okay to have multiple mentors as you grow and evolve as a human being, whether you start off with wanting to learn sales, then wanting to learn management, then learning SOPs, then learning organization, then like customer etiquette or HR, it's okay to have multiple people that have specialties along the way.
For
Um,
sure.
and then going into the patience thing is a two-way street too. So like, I mean, as business owners, sometimes like we have that fruit fly mentality of like, we want to just sprint, run through walls or whatever, where we just are impatient and want to get the things done because that's the way we started, was sprint and then find the path later. So when it comes to the employee, we have to understand that, hey, they need to also be patient. We need to be patient with them because we're trying to win together. It's the will to win as a team. Otherwise, you're going to just chase your whole team away.
Yeah, and I've done that too.
Yeah,
I've been way too impatient for results. You know, you hire somebody, you give them a couple months, and then you let them go. You just hurt yourself. If you're going to invest in people, first of all, find people that have very good character. That is the most important thing. And first of all, in order to find people with good character, you better have good character first as an agency owner. And one of the keys to my longevity has been we do the right thing. That's it. We assess every scenario that comes across. But then once I've got my character in place, we need to make sure that the people that we're bringing on have great character as well.
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, as you show up, other people will show up too. Somebody just recently told me, but it was a reminder of, is where you start is where you finish. So if you start with great character, you'll finish with great character, and you'll track that too.
Yep.
The way he was, the context of that was more of, if you start giving away too much free shit in the beginning, you're going to attract shit clients. but that's not what the context was. But it also applies to character and morals, and making sure you're good to that team, because that's ultimately they're going to get paid more in the long run, and then you're also going to be able to exit in the long run too.
For sure.
So you said something super interesting. So you must have like a really good structured 1 hour meeting every single week to be able to make people give that reporting loop. So everybody's like respecting you as that leader, because that 1 hour is the only time they're going to get that week, like struck or at least scheduled in. How do you organize people to basically be prepared? Like, what kind of structure of your meetings do you have?
Yeah, thanks for asking. That's actually something that we had to work on, but we settled in on covering about 4 or 5 really important points. Number one, what were our wins for the week? So we're holding ourselves accountable each and every week. Number two, what were our losses for the week? Did we add 5 accounts, but we lost 7? Well, that's not so good. So what are our wins? What are our losses? What are the receivables? Who owes us money? Another problem I see with agencies is they just don't stay on top of their money as much as they should. Somebody in your organization has to be absolutely obsessed with the money and get it all the time, because 1 month turns into 2 months, turns into 3 months, turns into no money ever. So we cover wins, losses, receivables, and then we go into our marketing initiatives. Again, another challenge that I see with a lot of marketing agencies is they're like, oh, my cash flow is a roller coaster. I'm like, well, tell me about your marketing. Like, well, what's that have to do with my cash flow? Everything. if you're going up and down and you're inconsistent from month to month, it means that you don't have systems in place. You don't have marketing strategies in place that are feeding the funnel full of fresh leads on a regular basis. And so those are just kind of some of the areas that we go through. And then I say, what's your goal for next week? And I have my entire team, the 8 people. My goal next week is to close 3 deals. My goal next week is to retain 3 deals. My goal next week is to kick this marketing campaign off the ground. So I just hold everybody accountable, and we just kind of go through those simple steps. And then, of course, we talk about all kinds of different things too that are just going on in the business, but that's usually where we start.
I love it. So yeah, that's organized. So everybody comes prepared, comes correct. They don't want to disappoint. So everybody probably has all their shit together once a week meeting comes, right?
Most of the time.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Most of the time is okay.
I give my team a lot of grace. I'm like, look, if you guys are given 80% of the time, I'm okay with that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody wants to go 100% grind. I'm like, come on, man. I'm trying to keep these people long term. I'm not trying to. Use them up and spit them out. Too many people do that.
It's funny you brought up the marketing side, because being a marketing agency, you spend a lot of money a month on advertising, so you're relevant and you're in front of people, so they respect the fact that you do what you supply other people. And I use that as part of my presentation, is that most marketing guys that I'm going to go up against, or you may even go up against, they don't even do marketing. They rely on referrals. They rely on cold calling. They rely on like non inbound related stuff. So for anybody out there listening, you should have some ads running, even if it's on the lowest possible budget, just to show that you can. Like the way I explain to my clients is like, I don't sell you anything I don't do for myself. So I'm in the weeds. So I know exactly what's happening in this industry, in this space, on this particular medium. So it's not good enough to take your money and spend it, and not good enough for my agency to do the same thing. So like most marketing companies don't do marketing. They're sales floors that outsource.
For sure. Let me speak to that too, Rahul. You bring up a good
Yeah.
point. I'll try to give your audience a visual. The way that we look at our marketing is like a wagon wheel. You've got the wheel, you've got all the spokes coming to the middle, and in the middle is a hub. You are that hub. Your agency is that hub. Now, each one of those spokes that's coming down is a different area that you can use for marketing. So just off the top of my head, search engine optimization, blogging, networking events, billboards. I mean, I don't want to go into the old school stuff because I don't believe in that, but sometimes that stuff works too. But the point is, how many things do you have that are running all the time without any effort? I mean, right now we just added three new ways to draw leads. I hired a set of cold callers out of the Philippines. They're scheduling 4 or 5 appointments every day. I've hired some people to go to trade shows, stand at booths, and collect opportunities, and we've got a system and a sequence to follow that up. What's another third thing that we're doing? Just digital marketing and Facebook funnels and things like that. But I sleep really good at night because I know that I've got 7 or 8 of these spokes that are all bringing me opportunities. So think about that. And if you're like, oh, I only have 1 spoke, well, then you don't have enough. None of us are smart enough to know where our next piece of business is going to come from. So we need to stack the deck. Another analogy is if you and I go to a fishing pond, you've got 1 fishing pole and I show up with 20 of them and I load them up all the way around the pond with all the right bait. Who's got a better chance of winning? You or me? No brainer. I'm going to win. Make sense?
Love it. I use a similar analogy with the fishing poles when I'm presenting like SEO and content. But yeah, I love that. That's absolutely true. And there's a lot of free things you can do out there where you don't have to go pay people. So like, I mean, one thing that we do really effectively is we'll post something of value online and make people comment. And when they say a keyword like me or I'm in or whatever it is, we ask if we can direct message them. And once they agree from that permission, then we move into an intimate conversation privately. And we ask a few questions about their business. And if we feel like we can help them, we book a call. And if we feel like we can't, we give them that widget right away. So some of you guys, whoever's going to watch this on the live or the replay, you've probably experienced that conversation. And sometimes you probably think like, hey, dude, I know you. It's because my VA is doing all the work for me, so I can sit back and do other shit. So I'm just not like a keyboard guy. But I was doing it at first. I had to prove the model. And now it's generating 2 to 3 leads per day on just one simple process. And one post we have like almost 500 comments on, and that's generated tons and tons of leads organically for free. So hopefully some of you guys can take that as a value and run with it, so you don't have a reason not to start getting in front of people and start getting those chops going, so you can start having more conversations and fail a lot faster and more often, so you can succeed a lot more and more often in the future.
Yes, get busy failing, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the best. I brought up Dennis Eckersley yesterday. Do you know who that is?
No.
Dennis Eckersley was the relief pitcher for the 1988 Oakland Athletics, playing the Dodgers in the World Series, who gave up the game-winning home run to Kirk Gibson.
Oh, wow.
So
Dude, I
I
remember those days.
Yes, and I brought that up because I was bringing up failure. I'm like, the guy did not quit baseball, even though he gave up one of the most important hits to ever exist in Oakland and Dodger history. They lost the World Series to the Dodgers, but the guy failed big.
That reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, though. And if you're paying attention out there, this one's really good. So write it down. Failure is an event. It's not a person. And too many people get that screwed up. They think when they have an event that fails, that means they are a failure. And you know as well as I do, Rahul. Well, I'll just ask you. You're successful. You're killing it. You're doing your thing. You're building your brand. People know you. People respect you. And so when you screw up, or how many times have you screwed up? That's my question.
All the time. Like I would say many times per day.
Yeah.
But like you can recognize it and you're like, but you now could like when you fail, you can kind of micro fail in the same conversation and course correct quickly. We know how to backpedal now, but yeah, fail every single day. I mean, it's whether it's in business or in life, there's always some fuck up.
Yeah. And my favorite thing to fail at, by the way, is marketing, because marketing is testing. And the more you test your marketing, eventually the more spokes you'll get, the more efficient they become. And then you have to look at those and make sure they're optimized properly too.
Definitely. All right, guys. So we're right here at the end. So anybody who has any questions whatsoever when you watch it now or on the replay, please do drop a comment in the chat if you have questions so we can answer it. You're in the presence of greatness here. This guy's been doing this for like close to 20 years, even longer than 20 years. That's just operating digital marketing agency. I mean, fuck, what was internet back in the 19 years ago? Was it Netscape Navigator or what were you using?
Dude, it's so embarrassing. that terrible noise. Funny story too is before I started my agency, I worked for America Online, and it was crazy because people were on dial-up, and my first computer looked like the size of a fridge, just the monitor. It was just so big, So it's just it's wild, that I just turned 50 years old this year, and I've been at this game, like you said, almost 20 years. But guys, don't give up. If you're running an agency, and by the way, I'll be real transparent, I've almost packed it in like 7 times. There's 7 times in my career I'm just like, I'm done. I don't care. I'm going to throw a grenade in my company and I'm going to blow the sucker up, because it's stressful. It's really, really difficult to run an agency until you have the right shifts. And that's really, again, on that online training, I'd love to share some of those with you.
Yeah, so to end it with this, comment to get that training, #Rhino or anything. Anybody who likes, comments, shares. I guess you may not be able to share this because it's in a private group, but like or comment, and then we'll reach out to you. I'll reach out to you personally. I'll send you the link so you can get access to Chris's amazing training. You're not going to want to miss it. It'll be game-changing for your life.
By the way, Rahul, at the end of the training, I do give an opportunity for a free 30-minute breakthrough session. So if anybody does want to have a free 30-minute coaching session, watch that training at the very end. It gives you a link so you can get on my calendar. But if you're a young marketing agency, or you're still trying to break 7 figures, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation.
Totally. Let's do it. All right. I'm switching back to me really quick. Oh, no, switch back to you. Okay. I don't even know who's live on the thing. Anyways, this is Rahul speaking right now. So all you guys out there, if you know any other agency owners, business owners, please invite them into this group. As you can see, we've done a ton of interviews. We have incredible people like Chris willing to give away amazing content at the goodness of his heart here for free, and also additional training. So we'll have so many more awesome guests just like Chris, and we're going to be putting in a great amount of content and energy and effort. So invite as many people as you can to this group, and we'd love to see you on the next one. And thank you again for everybody who's watching and will be watching this live. And Chris, I got to thank you, man. Thanks for your time here, dude. And I love that shirt. I want one, by the way.
Yeah, send me your address. It'll be in the mail. I got you.
Love it. Awesome. Right. Thank you, sir.
Live large, everybody. Thanks, Rahul. Have a great night.
All right. Later.